Hello, everybody. So I hear you asking me, what sets are good in Hydra? We'll break them down by role and category. So let's start off with probably the most important role in Hydra, which is support. Sets that are good in support are the same sets that are good anywhere for support. You're looking at speed, you're looking at accuracy, resistance sets are good, regeneration's good. Not immunity, shield set can be good, relentless is very good on some supports. Um, Taunting sets has been used right now with anybody with an AoE A1 because they can taunt the head of decay. Stalwart sets can be good. Reflex is good. Niche, but good. Cruel, no, not cruel. Sorry. Immortal is good. Divine speed is good. Deflection can be very good. Resilience is probably the best off set when you're building a support because it makes them tankier, gives them 10% defense and HP. Perception is the best set in the entire game, hands down, bar none, especially for supports. And Guardian set is actually a close second. If you put a lot of these on your team, it really mitigates the damage that they take, and it heals them every turn, so it's very good. Protection set can be very good if you have a good set of it. And I just finished with my battle pass, so I got bolster, and bolster's very good. Those are the sets that are good for supports. All right, let's go back to the top. Now let's go over sets that are good for your damage dealers. If you have a very good offense set, sure is an offset. Crit rate can be good. Crit damage is usually what I see a lot of people going for with non-AoE max HP damage dealers. So just regular damage dealers instead of like Royal Guard and Husk or Calvalax. You know, essentially those guys. Um, Lifesteal can be good, but you're really wanting to push out damage. Your support should be doing the job of keeping your team alive. Savage can be very good. Um, where'd Relentless go? Relentless is very good for damage dealers. It's actually very good for AoE HP nukers. Okay, and Retaliation's not good. I like Necmothar in a toxic set, and I think next Hydra run I'm going to record a run with him doing that because he was cool. Off topic. Cruel, very good. Going down, not Swift Parry, don't use that one. Fatal is very good as an offset. It really helps push that little bit of extra crit rate that you might need. A lot of the times you might find yourself at 95, 97, 99% crit rate and you just need a little more. And it also gives you attack percentage. So I actually really like Fatal. Bloodthirst, it's the same as Lifesteal. I only have one champion in a full set of it and it's my Rule. I really love Rule. And Lethal is very good for non-max AoE nukers. These guys. And Instinct, actually. I have three of my Hydra DPS champions in Instinct, and I'm actually going to switch my Royal Guard out of it because we'll break into that later. But I have Varro in it, I have Temezia in it, and I don't use Helicath in Hydra. You could, but he's in it as well, and he deals very good damage. Um, and I forgot to mention Fortitude is actually a very good set for Hydra, and I only have so many pieces. I'm very picky on my Fortitude set because, and I shouldn't be though, because Bomble is a bitch to farm. It takes forever. It's not terribly hard, but it just takes a long time. But those are the sets that are good in Hydra. Okay. And stats that you want for like supports, you want speed, you want resistance and accuracy. Those are the three stats you want in Hydra for your supports. And for your damage dealers, you want speed, you want crit rate and crit damage, and that's about it. And try to push their attack or HP or defense, depending on what kind of damage dealer they are, as high as possible for regular damage dealers. All right, now let's talk about HP AoE nukers, since we're on the subject. We'll scroll down, and we will find, which Husk is it? It's this one. So I have this Husk in Relentless, okay? And I have him in 2 off pieces. I really would love to switch this around and put a moral set on him, or switch it around and get another resilience piece right here. But it is what it is. These guys, their ability of like despair, damage inflicted is proportional to the enemy's max HP is capped at 10% of the Hydra's max HP. So he can't deal more than that, ever. So you need to understand that you're damage locked. So you shouldn't just keep pushing crit damage. You shouldn't just keep pushing, like, his is based on HP. You shouldn't just push him up to however much HP, even though you want him to survive. Um, just something to keep in mind. And you generally you want him over 200, 210, 220 speed, depending on who your lead is and what buffs you got and turn meter boost. And a lot of people are building Husks with accuracy now. Same with Royal Guards, because you want him with his A1 to attempt to taunt the Head of Decay, which it's very handy. What's this? 20, 30? It's a 40% chance, hit 2 times. Whatever, do the math. I don't know. These are the masters I have on my guy down to War Master, because you can get that little bit of extra damage in. And I have them in a refresh accessory. Now here's the thing. Your most optimal damage dealers for AoE nukers, HP nukers, is you want them in Relentless, and you want them with refresh accessories, because you can just boom, boom, boom. One of my Nightmare runs that I did my high score on for personal best on Nightmare Hydra, I had like 58 million, and I could have kept going, but I had some bad RNG at the end. But I had really good RNG to get me there. That's because my Royal Guard that's in Relentless and Refresh, he got to take 3 turns in a row where he got to use his takedown ability 3 times in a row. That was a lot of damage. Cue freaking flex tape, but you know what I'm saying? So just a heads up there. So this is like an example of what you would want one of your HP nukers to look like. Okay? This is another one I have him in lethal, or not lethal. Yeah, lethal. And I'm going to take him out of it. I'm going to tell you why. He doesn't need to ignore the defense. The crit rate's nice, but he doesn't need to ignore defense. He doesn't even have, it's embarrassing, he doesn't even have 100% crit rate. He's got 88% crit rate, and he's very slow. But he has a lot of HP, and he has no accuracy. This Husk actually needs a lot of rework. Are all of his skills done? Yeah. Funny enough, Husk was like one of my first 3 epic champions, so that's kind of cool. We'll just take a look at my Royal Guards. These guys need to rework too when I get the time. This one's an instinct. He doesn't need to be an instinct. It does give him some speed. It does make him pretty fast. But I'd like him to have more HP, and I'd love him to have more defense, and maybe 50 more accuracy. Alright? His speed's fine. And this guy, he's in Relentless, which is good, but let's look at his stats here. I'd love him to have like 20k more HP, another 1,000 defense if I can. His speed's perfect, these are perfect, and maybe 30 more accuracy. Get him around 300, and he would be perfect. And these are, I'm sorry, I keep showing you the masteries. Obviously, it's going all the way down to War Master here, but let me just unlock my video captured device. There you go. So as you can see right there, that we got War Master over there, which is essentially what you want for your damage dealers for Hydra. Alright, let's put myself back. Okay. I'll give you a perfect example of a support. Now, let's see here. My Chris is my bait tank for mischief. Okay, as you see, he's at 71,000 HP, 3.4k defense, which is perfect. HP is really good, speed's really good. Not much for crit rate, even though I'd like him to. But I have him on 500 resistance and 400 accuracy, and those are the bare minimums that you need for Nightmare Hydra. And as you can see, I don't have him in War Master. I've brought him all the way down here to get that extra 50 resistance. I do not want that Head of Mischief stealing my stuff. And I should actually make Chris slower than my slowest person on the team. That way he is actively the target all the time for the Head of Mischief. I should actually put a shield accessory on him. That will give him an extra buff. And you can see, though, I have him in protection and perception. And I also have one piece of stone skin. If I had a piece of protection that had this much accuracy on it and a little bit of speed, I'd switch it out in a heartbeat. Could you imagine if this would have went like 4 rolls in attack or the 4 rolls in crit damage? That'd be great. Be switching over Kandrafon in an instant. But yeah, just an example. I have him in a refresh ring, and I think, yeah, this is the best refresh ring I can put on him. And it happens sometimes. What's this? This crit damage? It's HP. I'd lose some defense. I'd lose too much accuracy. Yeah, too much resistance. So So there's an example of one of my supports. Now, I know what I hear you. I hear you barking, big dog. You're saying, "Oh, that is way too much on the stats on these guys. I don't have it." Well, that's fine. All right, I can show you a better. I can show you a more in-tune support with a smaller account, and that's fine. I've been playing for 3 years or more now. I came in right after it released. I came in the December after it released, so or right after that December because I missed the Cernic Fusion. But here is Godseeker and Neri, 500 resistance, amazing, 234 speed, 3k defense, and almost 50,000 HP. I love this Godseeker. I kind of wish I had her with more accuracy because of her quest for meaning, because it will decrease buffs on the enemy by a turn. But I just don't have it, and I don't. Look at this. I don't even have her down in Unshakable. She is legit down in War Master. So, and I know. Look, it's a void. I understand, but Godseeker, if you're mid game, you probably should have one of these by now. And if you don't, I hope you get one soon. And I could show you my duchesses. My duchesses are, fast, good. Rarely 3% chance she gets her stuff stolen. You see what I'm saying? I have her in speed, resistance, and divine speed. This one here, she's in protection, she's in stone skin, and she's in resistance. She has higher resistance too. Almost 700. 223, good and good. Actually, she's got almost the same hit points. But you see what I'm saying? Let's go over and look at Varro, who is one of my favorite, and he's a non-max AoE nuker. We have him in Instinct, and I have him in Cruel, because it does matter for him. He is a monster. He is a beast. If I could stand on the mountaintops of Jerusalem and sing Varro's praises, I effing would. I fucking would, I tell you. Varro is the shit. Especially this here is A3, destroys heads. Does not care. Goes in, kills the entire family, and then writes down the relatives so he can hunt them down too. He destroys. He is a murderer. He's a great champion for Hydra. Will attack an enemy, ignores 30% of the target's defense, and decreases their max HP by 50%. And if he kills somebody, place block damage, but that doesn't happen on Hydra. All of this happens because the longer he stays in a fight, like Clan Boss and Hydra Clan Boss, the more damage he deals because of his passive, Mass Murder. His attack increases by 10% for every active skill he uses, stacks up to 100. Make sense? And then he's got weaken and a decreased attack on his A2, 100% chance to land when booked. And it stays on for 2 turns. Amazing. So I have mine in a little bit of accuracy. If I run him with Lady Kimmy, he's definitely landing it. He's pretty decently fast. 238. Now you see what I was talking about earlier. We got 99% crit rate, 259% crit damage, and 4.7 attack. It's kind of mediocre stats. I 100% agree with you. I'd like this to be about 5.5. Speed's perfect. Maybe a little more defense on him. But these are fine and this is fine. He's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife right now because that's what I have him as a role for. Or that's what his role is for. I just love Varro. I'm in a spirit legendary mood lately. I love my Necmo. And here's an example of a Necmo Thar that's built for support. I have him in Relentless. I gave him crit rate gloves because I actually want him to deal damage. A little bit of damage. He cranks out about 3 to 4 mil because he's got War Master. Alright? And I have him in a retaliation ring, which can be good and bad. Or revenge ring, because same thing. Because I want him to keep landing decreased attack when the Head of Wrath is up. Well, even when the Head of Wrath isn't up, I want him to land decreased attack. Okay? I got him in speed and accuracy, a little bit resistance. Resistance really doesn't matter. But he's decent, 315. His accuracy is good for Nightmare, 421. You just need about 400 or more. I really wish he had more HP, and I really wish he had more defense. Do I have him in crit damage? Nope. Defense. Alright. And speed boots. I could get this. I wish this was like HP or defense percent for that. But that's the best one I had at the time. And we'll look at his masteries here quick, like we did before. Got him down to War Master. And Lore Steel is a must usually for masteries. Sniper's great. And Master Hexer. Keeping those on longer. You want it to happen. Okay? So that's just a rough show of damage dealers you can have and supports you can have in the sets they're using. I'll even show you Temezia before we're done with this part of the clip. I'm gonna have to release this as like a series because it's too long. I mean, people aren't gonna watch like a hour-long video on Hydra basics. As you can see, I got one piece of rare here, but it's double crit rate with crit damage. She has good speed at 227. She's overcapped for crit rate, I know, and 230% she could have more crit damage, and her attack isn't very high. And again, she's got around 37,000 HP, 2.5 here, but she's got good accuracy, about 300. Crit damage on the amulet with triple roll and accuracy on a 6-star. And this is a rare, and I wish I had something better, but we have accuracy with a double roll speed. She's up to 21 speed. Good attack. And I have her in an attack ring. And this is one of my better attack rings, but as you see, it's a flat defense ring. That's actually what you want for your damage dealers like that. You want them in flat defense with attack rolls on the ring. Because what do damage dealers lack the most? Survivability. Where does that come from? HP and defense. Okay, say it with me now. HP and defense. That's what they need. Okay, and we'll just kind of look here. I have her really pushing out the damage. It's definitely chose Grim Resolve because she's definitely going to be lower in HP. Got her on Lore Steel. I'm telling you, this little 15% stat boost from like perception and all that, it's greatly needed. Greatly needed. But those are just some of my champions I'm showing you as an example. We're going to wrap this video up here. So catch us in the next part of Hydra Basics by Ope Gaming. Have a wonderful day. Alright, now we're on to one of the final segments of the video, or series of videos. I haven't decided yet how this is going to happen, but it's probably going to be a series of essential debuffs you need and essential buffs you need to defeat the Hydra clan boss. Oh my god, would you look at it? I have Ugo here. You know, Ugo has probably been the most influential, and if not the best epic the game has ever seen. Other than Eurogrim before he got nerfed, who is also another Ogre in Tribes epic. But Ugo here brings you a lot of things to the table for Hydra Clan Boss. If you have one, by God, you use her. Alright? In a very good, clean way with consent. Yeah. But anyways, she brings a lot of stuff to the table, jokes aside. Her big thing is she brings decreased defense and block buffs. These are essential debuffs that are going to be needed for Hydra Clan Boss. I would argue these are 1 and 2. Block buffs is 1, decreased defense is number 2. She also brings a heal and a cleanse. And she puts a leech up on her A1. This is all very handy. Each enemy alive. Oh, didn't even know that last sentence. Pretty good. But Ugo brings those together, right? She fits essentially 3 spots in 1. She's a very good support, and she's an epic. So she's a lot easier to get than a lot of the legendaries. Like we'll give Gerptuk for example. He is a legendary in the same faction. He's not even close to being as good as Ugo. He does have block buffs at 100% chance when booked, and it's at a 3-turn cooldown and goes up for 2 turns. But he also puts 2.5% poisons on you, and he really doesn't bring much else other than increases damage and also increases resistance. Actually, you know what? Gerptuk's not bad. I actually built him out for Hydra. I just haven't used him. And since we're stuck on Ogre and Tribes right now, well, let's talk about somebody that can bring a lot to your table. You probably have him. You're probably not happy you have him. But after watching some videos on this guy, I really do believe that he is a very good Hydra Clan Boss champion. And I want to give a shout out to Nubraids for showing me how good Shamrock can be. Shamrock is a joke. I mean, look at him. He's an ogre. He looks like he ate the leprechaun. You know what I'm saying? He was a I think he was the first St. Patrick's Day. I'm pretty sure I'm right. He's the first St. Patrick's Day champion. And, you know, he was kind of a meme. He did get buffed at one point. He was worse than what he is now, but he's actually a very good champion. Especially for people that don't have Duchess and don't have Siffy and don't have Krisk. You can use a Shamrock and do very, very well. You can put up pretty close to the same numbers. You can 1-key Nightmare with him. I've seen people do it. And I want to show you why. Because he brings these to the table. Look at all these buffs he does. Now, there's some conditions on these buffs, but they're great. They're all buffs you want in Hydra Clan Boss except for increased crit rate and revive on death. But increased defense, increased speed, and continuous heal are all buffs that you really do want to bring into Hydra. And he also places the best, like this is like the third best debuff against Hydra. So if you can't manipulate the Hydra's turn meter with your champion's abilities, you can if you decapitate the head of mischief, but with regular abilities you can't. So what's the next best thing to control turn meter on them? You give them decreased speed. This guy also brings increased speed. And he steals buffs. Each has a 6% chance of removing a random buff from the target. If a buff is removed, he has a 35% chance, 40, 50% chance of stealing it. And this has actually 60, 75% chance of removing it. So you want to build him with accuracy. You want to build him with resistance. You want to build him fast and tanky. He's your general support champion. I actually just 6-starred one I got a couple weeks ago. I used the first one I got. I really like the effect. Look at the beer. It actually falls out. Name another gacha that does this much level of detail. I'll wait. What's his aura too? He has a great aura for Hydra too. It increases accuracy in all battles. If you're pumping dudes with resistance and you're like, man, I don't have the gear for this accuracy, put Shamrock in the lead. Boom. 70 accuracy instantly. I'm sold on Shamrock. I'm going to try and really do what Nubkex does with him. Do we have anybody else in this faction that I can really give a shout out to? I'm not seeing them. You could use Ignatius for HP burn, but it's on too long of a cooldown. Turn to Ash. This needs to be like a 4-turn. And we'll do more champions. Let's talk about Sacred Order. I'm gonna bring up one that's hard to get, and I'm personally after, as you can see. It's Cardiel. He's actually in the top 3 of champions you want for Hydra Clan Boss. He makes big damage happen. It's because he has this ally attack, which brings everybody with him. There's only 2 champions in the game that do that. It's him and the new guy, Lanathil? Whatever. That guy. He also brings a cleanse. And he gives revive on death and block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns. This here, in itself, I would argue is his best ability and not this. That's 4-turn cooldown. He also has a 15% chance to attack with an ally when they attack. Cardiel he's what they call, folks, the bee's knees. You know what I'm saying? Cat's meow, huh? Wink wink, nudge nudge. This dude fucking rocks. He also heals everybody for 7.5% of their max HP when he attacks. Cardiel's great. I'm really bummed I didn't get him on the last 10 times, but I didn't get any legendary, so I'm just that much closer to hitting Mercy. So who else is good in this faction? Sanguinia is great. Holy Blood. Block debuffs and continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, and she has, when booked, 100% chance of transferring all debuffs from your champion to them, and will remove all debuffs from all allies except her. So what she does is she cleanses your team, and then all the debuffs on her, she'll put on the target. It's pretty cool. Anybody else I can call out here? Oh, yeah, of course. So Inquisitor Shamail. We'll get into a buff we'll talk about in a second. But it's perfect Veil for the Head of Torment. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to run other supports, you need to run an Inquisitor Shamail, I think. Because he has one thing for the Head of Torment that no other champion really does except for Jing Wong. And Jing Wong is legendary, and I still think he does the worst version of this. And it's Dauntless. Wrong. Right here. Whenever an ally receives a fear or true fear debuff from an enemy, his skill will instantly remove the debuff and fill the ally's turn meter by 15%. So what happens in Hydra is he actually fills the lead's turn meter by 15%. And he actually has a very hard-hitting A2, and his A1 will, has a 50, 60, 75% chance of decreasing a random buff they have by 1 turn. He is all around a great epic. Especially since he's only got 2 abilities, but his passive's what makes him. Make him tanky, but also give him a bit of crit rate, crit damage, and he will start putting heads in their place. Godseeker Neri in another video or another part of this video, I can't tell yet, but I talked about her. She's great. She has revive, turn meter, heal, and an auto revive that goes on to a 4-turn cooldown. She's pretty great. Deacon Armstrong, another guy. He brings decreased defense and he brings leech, and he brings turn meter manipulation for your team, and he has an aura for 19%. So he's bringing those in. I'm not seeing anybody that places a veil. I might be wrong on here, but we'll just go down to an epic version. Excuse me. Of who places veils. Perfect veils is what you need. And it's Rector Drath. So if you're new to the game, you know, you made your new accounts and used the Hell Hasting before they started nerfing that, because I heard they nerfed it, which is a big bummer. Whatever. Rector Drath is the best epic option for placing perfect veils. And it's right here. Spirit Form. Goes to a 4-turn cooldown. Wrong one. It's Necromutation. Goes to a 4-turn cooldown. It'll heal all the allies with 20% of their max HP. After healing them, it'll put Perfect Veil on them if they have full HP. So it's her opener, right? But then it will also put a continuous heal on those who do not have 100% HP after she does the heal. And she has a Revive. She also has a passive that increases the resistance of anybody under Perfect Veil or Veil by 50. And it heals them by 10% of their max HP at the beginning of their turn, when they're under Veil or Perfect Veil. And she puts a decreased attack with a 50% chance for 2 turns. I love Rector Drath. I wouldn't build her with accuracy, I just build her with resistance and speed, make her tanky, and she's going to do everything you need. So she is the poor man's version of Perfect Veil. If you want to go big with Perfect Veil, you just go to Demon Spawn, and if you're blessed, you end up having Duchess Lila too. And I got blessed to have 2 of them. So I don't have much to complain about. Now I'm trying to think. Is there any more buffs you really want? Strengthen. So if you've already been doing Hydra, you probably already have this champion if you've been doing it for a little while. Mithrala is a great champion. She is for Hydra. Make no doubt about it. Especially with her accuracy being her resistance. You could use her as your bait tank, and the Head of Mischief will never, ever, except for 3% of the time, steal her buffs. But she has this cleanse that goes to a 3-turn cooldown, and it puts the shield and strengthen up for 2 turns. Big strengthen and good shield. Very good. You want that. You want the cleanse. She also brings this for the Head of Mischief. Puts Hex on him, and gives your team increased defense and increased attack. Very good. This won't proc against them, so I wouldn't even worry about this. And the poisons are situational. Only a couple heads are actually susceptible to poison. Those are just some examples of champions that you can use. I mean, I'm really trying to give you the idea of the skill sets you want to use in Hydra, okay? So I'll catch you on to the next part.